up, guys? It's Wolverine, Death Machine, Mr. GMSI himself, Brian Cage, and you're watching True Hill Heat. Who better? Nobody.
Rob Van Dam, listening to True Hill Heat. Pow.
Alright, this is Dan House here, very nice, very evil. You are watching True Heel Heat. Probably should have had MJF do this, but here we are.
All right, hello, True Heel Heat. I'm the AEW World Champion MJF. Just in case you're deaf, dumb, blind, stupid, or since you listen to this podcast, or you're listening to True Heel Heat, and I apologize for that.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for Collision Discourse number 22, reviewing the January 27th, 2024 edition of AEW Collision as only we can. And, of course, you know, this happens ever so often. I am alone here. This is just me, guys. It's only me because Sober Guy JJ had me pushed back to time and then doesn't show up. And now I'm here live with all of you alone. Gotta love it, right? But yes, we're here to discuss AEW Collision from January 27, 2024. I want to thank you all for joining us live here, right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, or joining us on Facebook, Twitter. We appreciate you if you're joining us live. Appreciate you if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show that appreciation back the simplest way possible. Drop the thumbs up on this video. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. So sound off with all your thoughts from this week's AEW Collision. And look at that, he arrived. He arrived. He finally showed up. What's going on, good sir? It is Sober Guy JJ. You're muted or something. Something or another.
Yes, I was. I apologize. Hello, True Heat fans all around the world. How you guys doing? It is a very relaxing Monday. Collision Discourse. We are here to do it. I am still tired as hell coming from Tampa this weekend. So yeah.
Yeah, you're still recovering, still in recovery period.
Yeah, I haven't had any sleep. That's really all it is.
I saw you comment a little in the chat. What was your overall thoughts on this year's Rumble?
It was what it was. I did see some of you guys review on it. It wasn't. It didn't live up to expectation. That's really
Yeah.
all. That's really all my. That was my. That was my problem. It didn't really live up to expectation. Not even because the Rock didn't show up. Like for some reason, everybody in the stadium thought it was going to happen. It didn't feel big. It didn't feel big. It just dragged out. And the crazy thing about it, it started off good. Like the women's rumble, and I thought it was about to set the tone for the rest of the night. And no,
The men's Royal Rumble was just not booked well
at all. And then
all.
it's crazy. Like I saw how people didn't get reactions in the Rumble, like certain parts of the Rumble, because for some reason this year in the stadium they didn't even let us know what numbers the superstars are coming out as. So we're just thinking to count. Like so many people thought after we didn't even know Sammy was number 30. We were still up thinking somebody else is coming out. We didn't know. We even like for some reason they didn't have the numbers like they do every year about the entrance. So we kind of was like, oh, okay, it's and Sammy would never got that reaction if they knew he was number 30. I'm sorry. I'm just saying. If the fans in the stadium knew, he wouldn't have got that reaction.
Oh, poor guys in the matchup. But yeah, just there was booking decisions. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
And even like all the matches, like I said, my biggest criticism of the show is that every match I had an issue with. Even the women's Royal Rumble, which I said was the best matchup, I was like, man, you could cut out that middle portion when all the jobbers came out.
Oh my God, yes. It started off hot. That middle section was like, towards like I'll even say from Becky on in, but like the last three, that's what set the tone of the match.
Yeah, that was how it ended. It ended on the high. It ended on the high of the matchup. But I think that's enough talking about the Royal Rumble. Check out our review from yesterday. That's up on the homepage. But of course, we are here to talk about AEW Collision. Sound off in the live chat. Let us know what you thought about AEW Collision this week. Did you watch Collision over the Royal Rumble? If you did, you probably made the right choice. Eric Isaac says, hey, peeps. We got Frantic World who says, what's up, SP3, Sober Guy JJ, and chat. We got G Loke in the chat who says, what it do at True Hill Heat, ready for another banger, and please smash up the like. We also got Power Driver Finisher. He says, finish Punisher Season 1. I haven't got that far. I'm up to Iron Fist Season 1, and after every episode, I'm like regretting rewatching the Defenders. But I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch the Defenders season, the only Defenders season, and then I'm gonna watch Punisher Season 1. I'll let you guys know. Christopher Kidd in the chat saying, "What's up, family? We live." We got G Loke who says, "Hold it down, SP3. We got your back." But yes, I'm joined. I got my good brother here. Lady Sky saying, good afternoon to you as well. MCAT says the crowd was great at Collision. Yeah, it was a much smaller crowd than the Royal Rumble, but yeah, a lot better of a louder crowd than the Royal Rumble, it seemed. I was like, I contemplated what's worse than that Dynamite crowd from this past week that was like 2,000 people in a 10,000 seat building. And then at times when they were quiet, it sounded like deathly quiet. But I'm sorry, that 48,000 being quiet for some of those jobbers in the Royal Rumble was deathly. I thought I was watching a library.
No, yeah, you're right, because it was so funny because a lot as soon as people heard the music, once the countdown was over, they just sat back down. They didn't need no reaction. Oh, okay.
All right. Yeah. Your unidentifiable music.
Exactly.
That everybody does not like. Power Driver Finisher says, I'm debating Luke Cage or Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones Season 1 is awesome. It's awesome. It's one of the best out of all those Netflix Marvel series. Yes, the Iron Fist I am currently watching and regretting. We got Christopher Kidd who says, I watched Collision instead of the 4-way NUS title match, but I was locked in for the women's and men's rumbles. Yeah, I just wish they were better. I was locked in for the whole show. I just wanted it to be better. Just
and they had the opportunity. They had the opportunity.
And I would say, I think that if this same Royal Rumble happened 3 years ago, I probably would have gave it a 7 out of 10. But like, I feel like Triple H raised the bar on WWE pay-per-views, and he just hasn't met it since SummerSlam. SummerSlam was his first flop, and then he hasn't had like up to the quality of like Night of Champions, Money in the Bank, last year's WrestleMania, last year's Royal Rumble, last year's Elimination Chamber. He hasn't done that. Payback wasn't that.
Survivor Series?
Survivor Series was propped up by CM Punk return. Like it feels like I feel like I can't like judge it as one show. I feel like if it was without the CM Punk show, I would have said it was on the same level as like a Crown Jewel.
I can see that.
Yeah, so it was propped
but,
up.
You know me,
but that's a mirage in like the paybacks, the fast lanes, and now the Royal Rumble where those were below par. And Crown Jewel. See, I didn't mention twice. I mentioned all those shows. I didn't mention Crown Jewel because that was forgettable. So
very
there
forgettable.
You go. It's like I was like, for the first time in my life, WWE weekly television is better than WWE pay-per-views. But let's talk about AEW television here. AEW Collision was from Bossier City, Louisiana, and the show kicked off with the Blackpool Combat Club, Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli teaming up to verse Shane Taylor Promotions, Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty. This one was a physical affair. We got the slugging it out right at the beginning, a lot of brawling around ringside and hard strikes in the ring. Whenever Shane Taylor was in there with Claudio Castagnoli, I was like, give me this. And when they had their little exchanging like clubbering blows and clotheslines, I was like, yes. Moxley going at it with Lee Moriarty, continuing their great match that they had on Rampage this week. And then the matchup really kind of broke down when we started seeing some more double teams. We get Claudio doing the swing on Lee Moriarty, where he's like trying to like wave him off at the same time. It was great stuff. We get Moxley goes for the Death Rider, but Moriarty torques his bad arm and tagged out to Taylor. Taylor went for his big right hand, but Claudio stops him and helps Moxley hit the heart attack for a near fall. Then Moxley locks on the rear naked choke. Taylor gets back to his feet, but he falls down on his back, crushing Moxley beneath him. But Moxley doesn't let go. He holds on, and Shane Taylor passes out to the submission to give the Blackpool Combat Club the win. I thought this was a really good match to start things off. Very hard hitting, continuing the stretch of matches between Moxley and the Shane Taylor Promotions. I feel like this match, though, should have been the beginning of the feud and not at this point. I feel like this match should have been first, and then you do Moxley and Shane Taylor, and then Moxley and Moriarty after.
The only thing I could think of why this match happened like this is like I feel like they'll probably add somebody else to Shane Taylor Promotions.
I could see that.
That was probably that was the reason I come to. I feel like I don't know. I just felt like throughout that match, I'm like they're probably gonna add somebody. That's the only reason I could see this match being the place where it's set in the feud. But what you did make sense, especially if that does not happen. So, I hate how they started off with the show, making them feel kind of like jobbers. Like they don't give them an entrance. Like
that's true. And they have a great theme music.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't feel that part, but this is it's doing wonders. I think for Shane Taylor to be involved in this little feud right now with Blackpool Combat Club, and it was a good opener, solid. They were basically beating the shit out of each other from the beginning of the match, so I enjoyed it. So good way to start off Collision.
I agree. We got Power Driver Finisher says Claudio wasn't wrestling like this in the E, was he? No, there's a different type of Claudio. He holds himself, and AEW treats him like he's a main eventer.
Yes, like he's a big deal.
Yeah, he's always been treated like a big deal. Frantic World saying this is STP's year. I'm liking the fact we're seeing them more often, and they're getting more use, and they're delivering and putting on good matches at the same time, which is always what AEW and Tony Khan is looking for them to be used more often. But let's continue on. You go backstage before our AEW International Championship match. You got Roderick Strong and the Undisputed Kingdom are there with the challenger for the matchup, Komander, and we have Strong who says, "Komander!" He offers the idea of a 5-week international title reign for Komander, as Strong would win the title at Revolution, and he can just be him at Revolution instead of Orange. And he offers his and the Kingdom's help for tonight. Strong forcibly shakes Komander's hand, making him agree, but Komander looks very confused, leading to our next matchup, the AEW International Championship. We have Orange Cassidy versus Komander. And this matchup, this goes right to kind of Orange Cassidy's wheelhouse. He's from Shikara. That's where he kind of got his start in the professional wrestling business, or his most notoriety before AEW. And this was a lucha style matchup that had the crowd invested. I think that this is another kind of case though with this championship matchup. There was never any doubt of who was going to
Who's gonna
win.
win, right?
And also it feels that Orange has kind of faced everybody. Even though this is probably the first time they faced each other, I feel like I've seen them face before because he's had so many international title matches. And it's just like, dude, the Roddy matchup should be happening on TV. The title match. Like, why are we waiting for the pay-per-view? They are at ringside watching this matchup. They come down to the ring during the matchup, and we get a bunch of good sequences and good action, like Komander doing his springboard plancha to the outside onto the Kingdom as Roddy distracts the referee. He does a nice reverse springboard crossbody at another point. Nice little tornado DDT for a near fall. He hits like a great Canadian destroyer after a feigned reverse crossbody. But Orange Cassidy takes advantage of Komander getting distracted with the Kingdom on the outside. When he comes back into the ring, Orange catches him with the Orange Punch. 1, 2, 3 to retain the AEW International Championship. Post-match, after the matchup, Strong held the international title up to Cassidy, but dropped it at his feet instead of handing it to him. But he shows some respect to Komander in the post-match as well. But what did you think about Orange versus Komander? A good matchup, but I said my issues with it.
It's funny, and you actually bring up a valid point because I said that even before the match. Like, damn, I feel like they kind of made a mistake putting the title back on Orange so fast. Like, I feel like because now it's like what is he like you said? Who is he left to face? What is he left to do? And that's what I'm kind of scared of. Like, damn, if Roddy doesn't win at Revolution, which would be dumb as hell at this point, like what does he do? Like, I feel like him winning that Revolution, I feel like will hinder him in the long run.
I agree. It's not. He needs to get elevated out of this international championship division. He needed that after All Out last year,
and that's what I thought they were going to do.
He got right back into it. We cut to the back where Daddy Magic Matt Menard is calling for help for Daniel Garcia, who is in pain on the ground, and he is busted open. Apparently, he has been attacked backstage. I like this. I like a show-long narrative. I was like, oh, this is good. This is good hype for the main event matchup, because I think we all knew that Garcia was going to probably make it back in time, but this is good to kind of give you a hook, like, oh, what's going to happen? How is this going to develop?
We're going to continue throughout the night, so it kind of made it better too. With obviously we'll get into who wants to help. So that's, like you said, a total good story. Like, damn, is FTR going to do this alone? Who's going to come help them? So
get you asking question. Then we go to a video from AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday, where timeless Toni Storm is very upset at Deonna Purrazzo's attack on Habuta. Mariah May asks Storm to watch her match on Collision, and she says yes, of course. Where is it at? Mariah May says it's in Bossier City, and she says, oh, no. I have a lot of issues. I think I'm banned in Bossier City. For my racehorses left her with a bad reputation. But She will be at Dynamite, and she will be watching Dana Palazzo. She will be on commentary for Deonna Purrazzo's matchup on Dynamite this week. What did you think about timeless Toni Storm here?
As usual, just great. Didn't even know what day it was. The show. And he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to this city. I'm banned for horses."
Man, because the racehorses left me with a bad reputation.
I was like, she's doing so good right now with this.
She saw no one thought that she had that in her.
No, absolutely not.
We go next to Mariah May in action against Lady Frost. And boy, oh boy, I didn't expect much from this matchup, but these two ladies just went out there and beat the shit out of each other.
I had a feeling.
I had a feeling, but Mariah May just keeps impressing me with how much Stardom has influenced her. Like, I didn't really see much of her work before Stardom, but you can see the Stardom in her by her strikes, how snug they are, how stiff they are. Her chops are very good. The sequences in the ring, the way she runs the ropes, all of the work that she did with these Joshi stars in Stardom are paying off already in her work in AEW. And Lady Frost has experience in Japan. She has a bunch of experience on AEW, Ring of Honor. She showed out here. Both ladies were very impressive. Frost with her athleticism. She wasn't able to go for the frostbite because Mariah May reverses it, catches her up top, and she hits the Mayday for the 1-2-3 to pick up the victory here. Mariah May improving to 2-0 in AEW in another good matchup on the show here. What did you think?
Like you said, they kind of went out there and beat shit out each other too. And chops were very much stiff. Very enjoyable. Like you said, Mariah May is really out there proving herself right now. Maybe I don't know how long term they got this situation with Toni going. Maybe hopefully this leads into her end up feuding with her, but she can go. I definitely see bright things from Mariah May in AEW, or just in the wrestling world in general, because she's still young, only 25. Like,
yeah, she's got so much talent. She's gonna be a star for years to come. We got Manuel in this chat who says Mariah May is a star. I absolutely agree. We got Frantic World who says if Stardom made Mariah May like this, just imagine how Megan Bayne will be in AEW. She's gonna be a hoss. That's gonna be Lady Hoss for AEW. Just be tossing some chicks around the ring. But we go backstage to a pre-tape promo from Swerve Strickland, and he's made his decision on Hangman Adam Page's opponent for Dynamite, picking his Mogul Embassy teammate Toa Leona, talking about his impressive record, saying that he has never been pinned in his run in AEW, which I can confirm, having watched a lot of Ring of Honor and AEW, it's usually Khan who takes all the losses for Gates of Agony and the Mogul Embassy, so that pans out very well. So it will be Toa Leona in his first major singles match, I think first singles match in AEW, going one-on-one with Hangman Adam Page. But after commercial break, we didn't have long to wait to hear from Hangman Adam Page about this, as he says he's ready for Toa Leona, talks about his impressive record, and says that that's going to change come Wednesday. And he says he didn't tell Swerve who he would be facing, and said, in fact, that he would have to wait the whole effing show to find out. I mean, I'll give you one guess who that is alluding to. Swerve Strickland's Dealer's Choice matchup. We will find out on Wednesday, but it seems we're getting the return of RVD, and Swerve Strickland it's literally back-to-back weeks going to face people that you can see influenced his offense in professional wrestling.
Yeah. That should be another good one. Well, I don't even say that. It's not even going my way. It's RVD and it's freaking mid-50s. But nonetheless, it should be something.
It should be interesting. What do you think about Toa Leona being picked? Me and Jimmy kind of alluded to it. We was like, we talked about who we would pick if this was like logic of Dealer's Choice. You want him to go against someone that he can lose against. Yeah. But we said who we thought they were gonna pick is someone from Mogul Embassy for Hangman Adam Page. We thought Brian Cage, but Toa Leona, I like the whole talking about his record of never being pinned.
Yeah, that's what kind of sold it for me. I was like, that was good. 'Cause I'm like, oh, I thought Brian Cage as well, because obviously it would make no sense for Schroeder to choose somebody outside of a group, a freaking big dude's pose that he can choose from. So
Yeah.
it was, so he did that, so it made the most sense. And but yeah, maybe now hopefully it should be a good one. This could be a coming out party for Leona. So let's see.
Yeah, Hangman's been putting in some good work, good matches. Great match with Claudio a couple of weeks ago. The good match
Hmm.
with Penta this past week. And we'll see what he can do against Soy Leona. And we'll see if Swerve gave us one of the best Jeff Hardy matches in years. It's those
Very
two
much.
Darby matches and that match is the best Jeff Hardy matches in years. So I think that he could do something with RVD, who didn't look that bad in his past appearances for AEW.
Well, the first one was a one-on-one match, right? Because I know the last one was a tag team match.
Yeah, that
So
was
he's
with Jack
it's
Perry.
the hottest faults.
Next up, we have a proving ground matchup as Willie Mack goes one-on-one with the AEW Triple Crown champion Eddie Kingston. We get Mack coming at him flying fast with a Yakuza kick right at the bell. This is not really like Willie Mack's best showing in AEW to date, as he is like a big cannonball, hits the standing moonsault. At one point, though, he tries to go for like a standing shooting star press, and he doesn't go completely over, lands head first on Kingston.
Yeah.
I was like scared of that one. Everyone was okay, but Kingston avoids the cannonball, hits a big exploder suplex for a near fall. Kingston goes for a backdrop driver, but Mack reverses it into a power bomb. They start trading strikes. Mack cuts it off with a big punch. Mack hits an enziguri, but Kingston goes to his knees gets the knees up on the 6-star frog splash, and then hits the Hurricane to get the win here. Really solid matchup between these two guys. Hard-hitting affair. Like I said, Willie Mack, the best he looked outside of that bocce shooting star press right there. But I got to put these two matches together because it segued nicely into the next matchup as Eddie Kingston was finishing up. Bryan Danielson comes down to the ring and completely ignores Eddie Kingston as he is here to go one-on-one with the legend himself, former IWGP heavyweight champion Yuji Nagata. And what we got was an absolute masterclass here,
Yeah,
sober guy
wow.
JJ. These two guys, hard-hitting strike, some great technical wrestling. This just felt like an excellent matchup between these two absolute legends in the ring. You get Danielson going after the arm of Bryan, and then Bryan going after the arm of Nagata, and then Nagata going after the arm of Bryan, setting up for his armbar later on in the matchup. Which I always love the eyes, and I love Kingston and Kingston marking out on commentary for
Yeah.
the eye
He
bit.
said, "Look at his eyes." Go, camera, stay right there. Look at his eyes.
Another great piece of business was Eddie Kingston on commentary. I thought he added a lot, talking about his new mindset and kind of towards Bryan Danielson, how Danielson's trying to get him angry with his antics, and how it's upsetting Bryan that Kingston is not reacting the way he used to. Like when he spit in his face, he didn't go after him because he was trying to protect his friend. Danielson pulls Nagata to the ring post. He starts going after Nagata's knee. At this point, we get a knee bar later in the matchup with Bryan going after the arm. These two guys, just great technical wrestling, great mat work. They go to the top where Nagata hits a big exploder off the top rope. We get the Nagata lock, like I said before, rolling the eyes back, but Danielson gets to the ropes. Danielson fights out of the backdrop driver, hits a dragon screw leg whip. The two men start trading kicks, and these were like some hard kicks. In the last kick, he hit him right on the back of the head with that last kick to the head. Then we get the yes chance from Bryan, and then he hits the Psycho knee to pick up the victory in this one. A great match between Nagata and Bryan. Bryan actually showing some respect to Nagata, extending his hand as the two men shake hands. Bryan showing respect to Nagata in the post-match as Eddie Kingston says he isn't buying it, and then Bryan flips Eddie Kingston off as he walks to the back as Kingston just laughs it off. First, Sober Guy JJ, what did you think about Kingston versus Mack? And then what did you think about Danielson and Nagata?
Kingston versus Mack was it was good. It was a pretty good match. Like I feel like Billy Mack's best showing since the matches he's had in AEW. Definitely up there for me. Obviously we knew who was winning that one, so it wasn't really much of a surprise there. What I was kind of surprised about was the kind of match that Nagata and Brian were going to have. Like that was a main event worthy match right there. They went at it like that was a real great showing, a great technical. Nagata being at his age still putting on those kind of matches is freaking insane. And like you said, Eddie definitely added on to the commentary because he made it feel important, like explaining explaining Nagata, how much he was a fan of him and all the stuff, like giving us little Easter eggs, like look at it, like the whole thing when he said look at the camera, when he rolled his eyes, like giving insight into Nagata for people who aren't familiar. So basically, and then of course him and Brian, which more likely is leading us to Revolution. Just everything makes sense in the match, like you said. Like it went basically from one match to another. Brian coming completely ignoring the fact that Eddie Kingston walked up the ramp after winning his match. So yeah, it was some good stuff, really good stuff.
Yeah, I like the way they're building this matchup. This is like I would say now that the main event storyline seems to be concluded, the best current story going on Collision is Kingston and Brian right now. We got Emmanuel in the chat who says Danielson versus Kingston at Revolution is gonna be a movie. I mean, it's gonna be hard because like I feel like Kingston and Brian have 3 times had a 4 3/4 matchup, like a near perfect matchup. But I don't know what it's gonna take for them to finally have like the perfect matchup between the two, and maybe it's pay-per-view.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna say maybe it's pay-per-view, and then this match heading into that actually has more of a story now towards it, not just a tournament match or a one-off match on TV. Like they actually can have a better way of telling the story going into that match rather than just being like a one-off match or a tournament match.
True. That is true. This build is gonna add to the matchup when we get to Revolution. We got Power Driver Finisher. He says, is Ospreay at Revolution or he starts wrestling AEW after? He plans to, I think the last report I saw was that he plans to be on AEW television in February in the lead up to Revolution. So he's going to have a match with Revolution, which is why I think after, like we said last week, after Moxley won the matchup with Shane Taylor, his promo alluded to maybe he's facing Claudio at Revolution. But then he had the promo on Dynamite, and I said that one was a little bit more vague, where I think maybe there still can do Moxley and Ospreay.
Ospreay, and it's coming off of Wrestle Kingdom, so there we go.
Exactly. Easy to make that story in a couple of weeks there. Next up, we go backstage to FTR, who was at the trainer's room with Lexi Nair. They didn't have any update on Daniel Garcia's status, but would fight at a handicap if necessary. Mark Briscoe walks up and tells them that's not necessary. He offers his partnership if Garcia couldn't go. FTR left the decision up to the doctors and Garcia, but let Briscoe know that he was in if Garcia was out. What did you think about this little backstage segment? Mark Briscoe showing once again he's blood brothers with FTR now.
Perfect person to add into the match. Without Garcia can't go. Obviously, the history they have, the respect they have, and the last few weeks with everything going on with Briscoe, with the anniversary. Well, I don't want to call it anniversary; it's nothing to celebrate. But with the passing of his brother and his brother's birthday just passing as well. So to give him that kind of like that a nice little prominent spot right now in the main event, that would be cool.
Yeah, I think after the main event, I wouldn't mind if it's like Mark Briscoe versus like Malachi Black as the next feud. Like something like
him and Brody King feuding, right? Like that, I would be fine with that as well.
True. Next up, we go backstage to Brian Cage, who's got some interview time with Renee Paquette. Cage was upset at losing both of his trios title matches as of late and was annoyed at everyone talking about the FTW champion Hook. He says Hook lost. He says that he was the one that put the FTW title on the map and said that Hook was the size of his smaller leg. Hook, wow. Hook entered the scene and offered Cage a title shot whenever he wanted. And Cage seemed to accept, but we don't know for when. What do you think about Hook versus Brian Cage next on his plate?
Next.
That's not. I mean, that's a good person for him to work with. Hook needs the reps.
I know, but goddamn, like, it's wrestling. I could suspend belief, but like, I don't know. It just, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that one yet.
You don't know how you feel about Hook about to make Brian Cage tap out?
Yeah, just watch the Brian Cage. Like I don't know how. Obviously we do not see Brian Cage with him, but yeah, I don't know how to feel about that one. That's
Hook got to develop a move finisher, impact finisher, instead of a submission, instead of Red Rum.
Ain't no way in hell I'm gonna believe him choking out freaking Brian Cage. I'm sorry.
Fair. That's fair. That is fair. MCAS say BCC needs to bring in Deeb, but how does she bleed with them?
She got a month. She got 12 months in a year. Let's go.
Jesus Christ, sir. Come on.
Words and opinions of Sober Guy JJ do not necessarily reflect those of True Heel Heat, its viewers, or affiliates.
I'm just saying.
Great job. Next up, we had our second women's match. Yeah, we lit up here. Women's revolution happening in AEW. Second women's match as Serena Deeb makes her return to AEW, having her first match since 2022. The crowd chanted welcome back to Deeb as her and her opponent Robin Renegade went one-on-one. Serena Deeb looked like she didn't miss any time out of the ring, really having little effort to get the win here. She hits the detox, followed by locking on the Serenity Lock for the victory here. I noticed right from the beginning, right from her entrance, her smiling, her coming out with the Deeb flag, high-fiving some of the fans, and I immediately messaged you and the rest of the chat like, Deeb is a babyface? What's going on? I didn't even get that from the vignettes, but the vignettes kind of, I was like, yeah. When you look at it in retrospect, yeah, that is kind of a babyface vignette. After the match, Deeb gets on the mic and she says it felt damn good to be back in the ring. She came back to elevate the women's division, to put the wrestling back in All Elite Wrestling, and to become a champion. She put the locker room on notice and said that the professor is back. What did you think about Serena Deeb's return to AEW television, getting the win here over Robin Renegade, and her post-match comments? Sober Guy? Oh, Joey, did we lose Sober Guy? Did he fall asleep when we were talking about a women's match again? Jesus Christ. At least he turned off the camera this time. At least there's that. We got Eddie James in the chat who says Serena Deeb is a technician. She absolutely is. Everything she does in the ring is just so smooth. Very much akin to like a female Bret the Hitman Hart, female Dean Malenko. And I was just waiting for that to happen. Yes, and technician, so technically a babyface. There you go. That is true. We got Power Driver Finisher. He says, did you miss me? That one chick in the crowd was like, nope. We got Emmanuel who says, put the TBS strap on Deeb. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. Deeb versus Julia Hart. Seems like a match that you could do. I know that Julia Hart seems like they were heating up Thunder Rosa for that spot, but you got two contenders coming after her now. We get Trey Jones who says, I like babyface Deeb. I do too. I was actually into it. I was like, this works. This actually works. Eddie James, who says, was there live? Great show. Thank you so much, guys, for all the comments. Keep sounding off in the live chat and send those super chat donations if you're feeling generous to give back to what we do here. We always helps out. We appreciate the support. What happened to you?
What the hell? Why is it only showing what is going on?
You're fine. You're fine. I see you. Yeah, I see you.
I'm having technical difficulties. I don't know. Maybe not my camera. Like it looks like I'm freaking. It looks like I only see my eyes. I don't know what the hell's going on.
What did you think about Deeb's return?
It was good. I didn't. I mean, then again, with her promo, that made me want to run through a brick wall. I felt like that was definitely a baby face kind of promo, but that could have been anything. Just hyping up her dedication to get back into the ring. With her, and then even with the promo she cut off, I'm like, oh, she about to shit on the fans in a minute. No. So I guess they're going in the direction of having her as the babyface right now.
I'm interested. I'm willing to give this a shot. I think she could be a pretty good babyface for the current AEW women's renaissance that's going on. I won't call it revolution. It's a renaissance. Quickly, they showed us that the stars of CMLL is coming to AEW. They went over a couple of the stars, a lot of highlights of the great Lucha Libre action in CMLL, talking about Volador Jr. and his rivalry with Rocky Romero, Mystico, who made his AEW debut last year against Rocky Romero, Mascarero Dorado, who has been tearing up the scene, probably one of their more popular, fastest rising stars, and Hexero. I know I said that wrong. Sorry, guys. Hexero, who is a veteran and one of the best technical wrestlers in CMLL. And of course, we lost Sober Guy JJ again. Please, guys, send a super chat donation so he'll come back. Maybe he'll come back if you support us. We get the entrances of FTR as well as Mark Briscoe for our main event, Escape the Cage Elimination Trios matchup. There he is. We get House of Black. Cut the lights out for Mark Briscoe as he makes his entrance because he is jumped from behind by House of Black with Brody King freaking tossing Mark Briscoe off the stage into a table at ringside. They take advantage of the numbers game, 3-on-2 on FTR until Daniel Garcia makes his return as it looks like Malachi Black's about to blast Dax Hardwood with a steel chair. Daniel Garcia comes out with a steel chair of his own to even things up. It is 3-on-3. They fight throughout the ringside area. This is a complete brawl. It's just a wild, crazy brawl around ringside with all 6 men. Eventually, we get 5 of the 6 men into the ring, and Cash Wheeler makes his 6 as he flies off the top of the steel cage down to the pile below. A huge brawl and fight. This one was just insane right from the get-go. A lot of chaos, a lot of carnage going on in this one. I like the different moments, like Garcia stopping FTR from escaping the cage when they could have really just done a clean sweep and saying that he wanted to beat on House of Black some more. We get the different eliminations in the matchup were very well done, like Brody King and Dax Hardwood fighting to the top of the cage and then doing a big back body drop off the top of the cage. Dax Hardwood eventually gets control and he gets out of the cage. He's on the steel steps. All he needs to do is jump down to get himself out of the matchup. But Brody King dives at the door head first and then blasts through Dax Hardwood, both men falling out of the ring to get themselves eliminated. Then we get Buddy Matthews and Cash Wheeler are fighting on the top of the side of the cage outside, just fighting to, get themselves eliminated, where you get Buddy Matthews takes down Cash Wheeler. He goes through a table at ringside, and then Daniel Garcia pushes Malachi Black into Buddy Matthews, and he goes through a table at ringside. It comes down to Daniel Garcia and Malachi Black. They get a good time in the matchup. At one point, it looks like Malachi Black is going to get the win as he's going to walk out of the cage, but Daniel Garcia dares him to finish it. He says, "Finish it." Malachi Malachi Black gets back into the ring, kicks a chair away that's helping Daniel Garcia stand up, but Garcia eventually gets control. He comes back with a big lariat. He's climbing up the cage, and then Julia Hart comes through from under the ring, spits the mist into Daniel Garcia's eyes. It looks like Malachi Black has the advantage then. He nonchalantly is about to put him away with the black mask, but Garcia ducks, hits a big power driver on a steel chair. He climbs to the top of the cage. Meanwhile, Malachi Black is crawling to the door, but Daniel Garcia is able to get himself out of the cage first to give FTR and Daniel Garcia the win. House of Black lose this elimination trios cage matchup, and the baby faces finally win the war, finally get the win over the complete House of Black. Daniel Garcia with the big win. This was a hell of a story, a fantastic main event matchup, one of the best main events in Collision's short history. What did you think about this one?
This match was fucking awesome. Jesus Christ. From the beginning, that match was great. When I'm whooping Mark's ass at the stage, throwing them off, they all run up the run. So this is not even going to start off like a traditional cage match. They're just going to be beating each other's ass outside of the ring. Garcia coming in, being the MVP of the match. Just everything. The storytelling, to being hurt from getting attacked earlier, to the power driver, to him even coming back after the Julia Hart thing. This was definitely a great showing for him. And listen, I'm all for it. I don't know if this ends the feud, only because it was a cage match and nobody really got like pinned or submitted. So I don't know if this is. I don't know if they switched. If they switched because remember the stipulation was just a regular elimination cage match, and they added the thing. So I don't know. I don't see this as something that's actually ending this.
Well, we should talk about that because it was advertised last week as the elimination trio steel cage matchup, and then this week it was advertised as escape the cage trio steel cage matchup. And then this led to Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Radio talking about how this didn't feel like the end of a blow-off of a blood feud because it's escape the cage stipulation, and that the House of Black guys don't like doing jobs. They don't like doing jobs, and that's why the stipulation was changed. But Will Washington on Twitter did
Meltzer
respond.
said this?
Yeah, Meltzer said this, that the House of Black guys don't want to do jobs and they should just leave. And why would you want to give them wins because you know they're going to leave when their contract is up? But Malachi Black's contract's not up till like 2025, 2027 or something like that, over different years on his contract. Like, you got some time before he leaves. So if that's the case, maybe something is up. But Will Washington did respond to a fan on Twitter, and he said that basically that it was always going to be escape the cage stipulation, and that it was just an issue with the graphic being changed, and that's all. The only change that happened, it was always escape the cage was the stipulation.
Right. I'm just saying. Hey, they know better than me. They work there, right? So.
Exactly. They work there. I mean, maybe it is a little bit of both. Maybe both things can be right. That that the stipulation was escape the cage, always escape the cage, but the reason why it was always escape the cage is because House of Black don't want to do jobs.
Right.
So, and I hate the fact that House of Black is this whole big group of 4 people, because it's half of the house that doesn't want to do jobs. It's not Brody. It's not Julia. It's half of the house.
Half of the house. It's halfway house.
Halfway House of Black. So overall thoughts, kind of what did you think, like, this being the blow off of the cage and all of that we just discussed with Wrestling Observer?
Of course it was Meltzer. That's a reach. That's a stretch. They don't want to do a job because they just want to leave. Like, listen, I get it. It's almost a trend now with all the WWE stars going to AEW to then want to leave and go back. But just stop. And maybe it's true. Shit, me and you already talked about the whole Malachi situation. Like, they're not really doing anything with him. Like, it's like the To the point is like, why is he like he hasn't had a one-on-one match still in what, almost 2 years now?
2 years now.
Like what the fuck are we doing? How do you have a leader of a group just basically with the group? So in hindsight, it feels more like they're like a tag team than Malachi actually feeling like a leader. If anything, right, I'd say Julia Hart's more of a leader than Malachi Black. I'll go that far to say that. But I don't know. Again, I don't know the outs. I mean, I guess all the ex-WWE stars want to come to AEW, thinking the grass is greener on the other side, and then they are fastly proven that it's not. It's like I hate saying it. I feel like there's so many stars you can talk about right now at AEW that you think they're going a certain direction with them, and then it just that's it. Just
I there's that, and there's instances of that. There is for sure. But then there's instances of what we're hearing of people thinking that they're bigger stars than AEW.
right.
And we are hearing mostly about House of Black, even though House of Black, Malachi Black specifically, on multiple occasions has like refused that whole notion that he refuses to do jobs. So I don't know. I just don't know at this point.
Listen, the wrestlers are good at telling stories, so I'm just saying.
Also true. But yeah, I did enjoy this. I didn't even really think much of the Escape the Cage because I just watched on Stardom. They did a whole faction versus faction rivalry that ended in a steel cage matchup.
I mean, that's a part of a stipulation, so it's not really the end of the world. It's not like it's something that was added. Like most of the cage matches you can win by escaping the cage or through the door.
Yeah, so I don't think it's that big of a deal that Maine Meltzer go on the rant that he did about House of Black not wanting to do jobs, but nonetheless, I think that this was a well done feud. This was a really well done feud, and that we come out of it with Daniel Garcia. He feels like a bigger star, and this feels like a great follow up for his efforts in the Continental Classic.
I think so too. Shit, hopefully this is a Malachi and Garcia feud now. Maybe Malachi finally gets a one-on-one match. Who knows?
I wouldn't mind that either. I wouldn't mind Mark Briscoe versus Malachi Black either. So hopefully we get some Malachi Black singles matches before he leaves for WWE. But that brings us to the end of another edition of AEW Collision. Sober Guy, let us know in the live chat. Last call for super chat donations. Come on, guys. We need at least one to make sure that we are doing something right. It's validation that we are looking for here. So thank you for that. Last call for super chat donations, but also let us know your match of the night, MVP, LVP, whether you gave the show a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and what did you give the show out of 10 for us for the January 27, 2024 edition of AEW Collision in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up for me, thumbs up for Sober Guy JJ. Sober Guy, what did you give the show out of 10?
I give it an 8 out of 10. Just that Nagata and Bryan, I might even go a little higher, 8.5. Because that Nagata Bryan match and then that main event was freaking great. Not very good. 2 great matches tonight. So yeah, I might put it at 8.5 just because of those matches, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 8 out of 10. I thought that I'm pretty close to 8.5 because those last 2 matches really delivered. Really two great matches with Bryan versus Nagata and the steel cage matchup. Like I said, steel cage matchup was one of the best main events. I think the only main event I would put higher than that in Collision history is MJF and Omega. That's it. It's that and this as the best 2 main events in Collision history, and a great close off to what was a fantastic rivalry between FTR, Daniel Garcia, and House of Black. So 8 out of 10 for me. Match of the night for me. I'm going to go with the steel cage matchup. Sober Guy.
Same steel cage matchup.
MVP for the show, I'm going to go with Serena Deeb and Bryan Danielson for getting the win over Nagata.
I'm going to go with Bryan Danielson and I don't know what I'm about to say. Nagata. Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia.
That also makes sense. That's also a good choice. We got MCats in the chat who says Garcia for MVP. Power Driver Finisher says match of the night, Brian Nagata, MVP Deeb, LVP Brian Cage. LVP for me, I'm gonna go with. I mean, I'll just go with an obvious one, Robin Renegade. It wasn't anybody.
It wasn't many losers, and I know who would have got LVP if they didn't win. Daniel Garcia for making them not go out the cage to end the match. I'm like, oh, okay, I got LVP written all over it, but they won, so hey.
Gotta give him credit. So that brings us to a close on another edition of Collision Discourse, reviewing AEW Collision. Sober Guy, let the people know where they can follow you on social media and when they will see you again.
You can catch me on something other than Collision Discourse in the future. But as of every week, we are here for Collision Discourse. I'm trying to get back in the swing of things, showing up on more shows. Maybe since I was in Tampa, I can do the Royal review with you guys tomorrow. Maybe if I'm feeling good the night before I got to work, I might even decide to do a watch along. Who knows?
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, you can catch me. Follow me on Instagram, Hacksaw_J_Duggan, Twitter. So we got JJ. Facebook, my name is my name. If you find me, find me. We are here every week. True Heat, beat your meat.
Absolutely. You can find me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Hill Heat, patreon.com/True Hill Heat, ProWrestlingTees.com, foryourwear.com is all the places where you could support us and check out all the great content we got on the channel right now. Like if you're an AEW fan, you can check out AE Ramble, from this past Thursday, reviewing AEW Dynamite from this past week with Adam Copeland versus Minoru Suzuki. Plus, you had Swerve Strickland versus Jeff Hardy. Surprisingly, really good matchup. Also, you can check out the flagship podcast, True Hill Heat 261 from this past week with myself, Miss Chrissy Love, and True Draw Josh. Check out our Royal Rumble review from yesterday, and me and Sober Guy JJ will be back with you next week. I'll be back with you tomorrow for Rated Raw review, so join us for that. But for Sober Guy JJ, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been Collision Discourse number 22, reviewing AEW Collision from January 2024. We're signing off until next time.